For the last speaker from the girl, come forward. Okay, the motion is reporting a violation in import to import law.
Oke, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Here I'm a speaker. My name is Rezqiyatun Najhah. So first, I will greeting in this auditorium. Good morning, everybody. So the first, I will explain about the law. The law is a legislation that in our country. That, in my opinion, that is we have to report in the population in our country if we want to have safe country and safe environment. The example, we see the robbing or the selling in our area, that is we just let it and without reporting about it. So if we want to have a safe country, that we should report about the robbing and the selling. Because if we just let the population without reporting it, the perpetrators will do it again and again. That the population will be bigger than before. And also, if the population that is we just deleted, and also if the population we just let about in our country, of course our country, if we feel uncomfortable if we live in our country, that is many criminal cases. Because of that, we as society in Indonesia, we should report the population in our country. Because if we have a safe country, of course we will feel comfortable and safe for living in our country. And also, by reporting the violence, that will help the government to solve the criminal cases in our country. That's all my points. I hope you get all. Thank you.
Okay, give a big hand. Okay, where is your yell from the girl? Okay, now from the boy. Okay, still keep spirit until the end. Okay, the next session is 1 versus 1 battle. Okay, begin from the first speaker. Take your place. What do you want to say? Affirmative. It means, okay. Okay, from the girl, take the affirmative thing, and from the verb, opposition thing. The motion is, gender merging in the classroom is better than gender segregation. The time begins.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Here I'm the first speaker. I would like to review the motion that I got today. And the motion is, gender merging is better than gender segregation in the classroom. And also, I would like to describe what is the meaning from gender. Gender is a set of characteristics that are tied to distinguishing masculinity and femininity. And classroom is a place in the school building which functions as a face-to-face activities to process learning and teaching activities. And also, gender merging is better than gender segregation because if male-only school male-only school have male-only class and female-only class students more often sleeping in the class. And also, conduct by Pennsylvania Pennsylvania University that say that people who go to one-only school not as educated as students who study in a general school.
I tell that your statement is very wrong because based on research that the learning style between boys and girls are different. boys usually interested in external subject than internal subject, for example, like football, sport, basketball, and RL. Different than girls. Girls usually interested in internal subject than external subjects, for example, like math, science, and biology. And because of that, the teacher will be difficult to teach the students if we merge the gender in one class or one school, because the students will also difficult to understand with the teacher's explanation. For example, like biology subject, there are the chapter of reproduction chapter between girls and boys are different memory from the reproduction chapter, and this will make the teacher difficult to teach to the students about reproduction chapter to the merging class, and after that the student will also difficult to understand the memory from the subject of biology. And if we separate the girls and the boys in one class, the teacher can customize the learning style.
But also, we are as a student, we must face the real world. If we have a long-lasting school in the general segregation in the one classroom, we must face the real world that we must do communication with the boys and boys with communication with the women, and also not all the girls were not like to any biologists, and maybe they're like football or maybe basketball, and also we must to respect their likes, and also we must do, because of that, gender merging is better than gender segregation in the classroom. And also in my opinion, that say that if gender merging is better than in the classroom, because these students can more motivate with other like boys and women to the boy, and it's more that they more can creative than before, and they can more understand about how to face the real world, because they must have good communication in the environment.
You said that girls and boys, if we separate the class, we will get lack in communication and relationship, right? But the fact is, we can communicate or having relationship or social interaction with different gender outside the school, not only in the school. And this not impact to the low quality of social interaction between girls and boys. You understand? Okay. So that you said that it will make the students more creative if we merge the boys and girls in one class. But eventually, if we combine them, they will have a competition, and that competition will make the boys difficult to compete to the girls, because, like I said before, the learning style between girls and boys are different. You understand from my speech? Okay. Because of that, learning style is very important for teachers to teach to their students, because in gender there are many learning styles. For example, like internal and external subjects. Maybe this all.
Okay, for the next conclusion from affirmative team.
Here, I'm an affirmative speaker. I would like to conclude the motion that I got today. So I think gender merging is better than gender segregation, because gender merging makes the people, the student more creative, because there is a competitive environment between them, so they can more creative than before. Also, the student can't also sleepy in the class. Can do permanently university that the student is working in the classroom, not as in the merging segregation, not as educated in a general high school. So I think gender merging is better than gender segregation. Thank you.
Okay, my conclusion is that gender merging is very not good for our education, because in gender merging there are a lot of relationships between girls and boys that can impact to sexual relationships, and then the solution is to separate the girls and the boys, so the teachers can customize the learning style between boys and girls, because they also have quality of their knowledge. Maybe that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, I'm a chairman. Next, for the second speaker from the girl and boy team, come forward please. Okay, from the girl, affirmative and boy appreciation.
Okay, here I would like.
Wait a minute. So the motion is video games as the main trigger of bad behavior in children.
Okay, here I would like to explain what is a video game. A video game or a computer game is electronic games that involves the interface or input device such as a joystick, keyboard, controller, or motion sensing device that generates visual feedback. This feedback is shown on the video display such as monitor, touchscreen, virtual reality, and etc. So I disagree. I agree that motion today, video game, is the trigger of bad behavior in the children. Because why? Too much video game will lead many poor social skills and exercising less to the children, reading less to the children, and etc. And data were obtained that through parents obtaining the video game is bad for the children because
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm here as the opposition team. For your motion is I disagree because why? Firstly, I want to explain what is video game. Video game is some electronic modern electronic in globalization. Purposely, you said the video game is. You said the game is have the many negative function, but no. But this game is have the many positive function. The example is the positive function is like the example. Some children is like just game. So first the positive function is like togetherness. The example is the game Mobile Legends. If some person in some children play Mobile Legends is like play together is that one knowledge is togetherness. From togetherness it is spread how to do the winner for the game. So the second positive function from this game is the example is like struggle, how to struggle, the children struggle for the winner for the video game. Because the video game is have many positive functions, not only negative functions. Maybe that's for me.
okay. I disappoint for your argument because the children may action threaten when their parents might take away their video games. The children will might angry or they get defensive. So that's why the children are the respect or disobey their parents. So video games where they are addicted to the video games that make they don't want to go to anywhere because they just sitting down on the front of monitor or touch screen or headphone and they will become overweight. Thank you.
For your motion, I disagree because why? Because why? As you know that the important one is if the children play this game, the parents must select the time for the children. We have the time for studying, we have the time for playing games. This is the form for parents for select the time. So now is I give the example is much in the YouTube is the gamers very success in YouTube. Like the example is Meow is the Meow is the player of game. So they have been success from the game because as you know that the game is have many positive functions and negative functions because that important one is the parents must balance the time. The children if the children very long time sit down at the front of the master for the parents must balance the time where the time for studying and where the time for playing games because then video games have many positive functions for our life. The example is for children because it's modern globalization. Of course, modern globalization game is very important in the life.
Okay, here we are talking about children, not a mere out as adolescents or teenagers. We know that children is not like adolescents that can manage their time. The children don't know anything about the internet or the pollution or the bad behavior when they play the video games. So we know that a children is vulnerable to imitate something that she has seen or do. Sometimes like the video games like Mortal Kombat. When Mortal Kombat do like Smackdown, then the children will imitate it. Thank you.
What I said, I can only give example, only example. Because the parents must important parent because they don't must combat. I said the parent must balance the time for student because like when I small I took my muscle combat, but my parent is balance my time because the parent is important one for the children play the game. I said only example. I tell just only example person for success by video game. This understand for my speech.
But we are out.
Okay,
One.
enough. Okay, the next is conclusion begin for affirmative team.
Okay, my conclusion from this motion is the children should it's a better way for children not playing the video games because the video games where they are addicted, the children can manage their time well, and we cannot ensure that parents will be right by our side. And we know that as children, the children will be vulnerable to imitate something that they have seen or knew or heard. So children is not like adolescents that can manage in their time as what they see or they saw. And so that's for me. Thank you.
So here I want to tell about my conclusion. So my conclusion is video games have many positive functions for video games. The example is, and important one is if we want to play video game, our parents must manage our time. So for this I so agree with this motion because the video games have many positive functions, not only negative function, but positive function is much from video games. The example is now the success gamer is meow out. That is I just only tell the example. Thank you.
Okay, you will back to your place. Okay, the last from the third speaker, boy and girl team, come forward please. Okay, boy is opposition and from girl is affirmative. So the motion is encouraging just competition between locals and strangers in Indonesia. Again.
Okay, here as affirmative term, so here I would like to explain about the local worker and the strangers of the Chinese worker. And the local worker, that is the people who stay and live in the country and work in the country. And about the strangers, that is people that who move and just work in the country. So in that about the increase in job competition between local and the strangers, that is I agree about it because if we increase the job competition between local and strangers, that is will make local worker will study hard, will work hard to increase the skill and increase the spirit to work hard for getting the job in Indonesia. And also, if increase job competition in Indonesia, of course, local workers will fail. If we don't work hard, or we don't. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So this
disagree for your motion because why? Why and why? First, the first one is the better. I think it's the better senior worker from local worker because why? First, they have many experience and many knowledge because they have high quality like and other countries like high technology and education and experience because they have the many knowledge because that the scale of Indonesian future for working in the nation because that the worker and the senior worker is better from local worker. We get from it.
But if the government is equal to strangest workers, how about the local worker in Indonesia? Now, in Indonesia, there is almost in Indonesia there is 7 million people that is just unemployment. But if government is include the strangest worker, in how about in local workers? If local workers, then is big government can make even for increase the local workers skill and can increase the technology in Indonesia also. Thank you.
So the senior worker is because the best from local worker because they have many I said for you understand because they have the many experience, many knowledge and many technology. They are very better from Indonesia because they are from only technology like education and seller is the best and like other country maybe and English and Australian is very best from Indonesia because they have to working in the nation because the show of Indonesia is therefore working in Indonesia. That is the best for this country because that the senior worker is better than local worker. Maybe that's out.
But if we just input stranger worker in Indonesia, how if Indonesia is messed up about the stranger worker? If Indonesia full of stranger worker, that is how about Indonesia's job in Indonesia? Because of that, we have to increase a local worker in Indonesia to increase the skill and increase the creativity about the local stranger. And also, if the government just let the strangest worker in Indonesia, Indonesia will master the strangest worker or the strangers will master in Indonesia, but Indonesia will be broke if Indonesia just pull up strangest worker. Thank you.
But in recording Ponpes.com that many the stranger worker that 90,000 the success people and this work be success people and the working is very the best for the senior worker from local worker because the senior worker is very better from local worker. That the Ponpes.com said for that the success many success from the local worker because only the senior worker have to 90,000 people success and in this country because that is very important. The senior worker is better from local worker.
Okay, for the next is congratulations again for affirmative team.
Okay, here I will get my calculation. So I disagree about this motion because if we increase the competition between local and Chinese workers, if local workers will, Chinese workers will limit the job opportunities to the local workers. Because of that, my solution is the government should pay attention to the local.
The conclusion for me is the better the
senior worker because they have many experience and many knowledge and technology and education in Indonesia because that our country because we have the process and Indonesia because they have many experience and many knowledge and other because that the senior worker the best and in this country because that the senior worker the best in this country.
Okay, yang mag-next silakan. Okay, good day all. Good day all. Okay, are you still spirit? Okay. Next, for the next session is theme. The first part is presentation of group's argument. Okay, I need from one speaker from girl and boy come forward, please. Okay, for the presentation of group argument, boy is opposition team and for the girl is affirmative team. Okay, begin for affirmative team. The time begins.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good afternoon, everybody. Here, I'm Nur Fatima as the first speaker, and beside me, Anissa Clara Septiani as the second speaker, and the last is Rezqiyatun Najhah as the third speaker. Here, we are from Pesantren team. We want to review and describe the motion that we got today. And the motion is romantic relationship between teacher and students as a tiered sexual violence in the school. So, firstly, I would like to describe what is the sexual violence. The sexual violence is an umbrella term that refers to a continuum of physical or physical action for a sexual nature that is intended as a commitment toward a person without their consent. So also, teacher is a teacher of a science and students are usually used for someone who follows an educational program at school or other educational institution and the guidance of one or more teachers. And also, conducted by the Indonesian Child Protection Communication that note that there were 207 children interviewed, 126 girls and 71 boys. Meanwhile, all the predators were men, and the record says that the most of the predators were teachers. And also, the Indonesian Child Protection Communication that also notes that sexual violence was mostly perpetrated in the educational environment, 1% of principals and 90% from teachers. These facts ask us where is our, in this case, that so many sexual violence happen in the school. And the most factor is because of teacher and relationship between teacher and student make the sexual violence happen in the school. Because of that, we must stop the sexual the relationship between teacher and student. And also, the psychologist Mary Arendt, SDP, MBS say that teacher and students should carry out their respective roles while in school is a place to gain knowledge. So it's best if everything goes according to the corridor. And also, teachers should be teach and students should be learning. So there's no teacher to like the student because it becomes a trigger for sexual violence. And also, we must look at in the past that there was in Tribunus, there was a teacher who has registered several incidents by a high school student involved against his sister from examination conduct by standard and police. This case turns out to be motivated by love affairs. So, relationship between girls, between teachers and students become affairs from sexual violence. Thank you.
Next, for the first speaker from opposition.
Okay, from I hear what you said for the first speaker, that there are cases, 90% of the teachers, usually there are cases that like sexual violation, but they have sexual violation because not have romantic relationship with the students. But our motion today is the romantic relationship between teachers and students can impact to sex violation. But your cases is not because of romantic relationship. You understand? That your cases is only because the teachers want to do the violation of their love. It's not because they have a romantic relationship before. But our motion today is about romantic relationship that can impact to sex violation. And you are misled from our motion for today. And then the sex violation is not because there are romantic relationships between teachers and students. It's because teachers want to do that because they have a dominance of level like teachers, because if they have a teacher's level, they will do their loss to their students because they have a dominant level in their capability to order the students, not because they have a romantic relationship. Maybe that's all for me.
Okay, next for the second speaker.
Okay, here I would like to deliver my point that is about lust. We know that teacher is also a human being who himself also has the nature and thoughts like a normal human. That means the teacher also has a lust. Is it a normal people if people has a lust? And that lust is a serious matter that we must be aware of and guard against, because lust can overpower our human sense so that unwanted things happen. As we know, in our country, Indonesia, referring to the data presented by Indonesian Child Protection Commission, there were 18 cases of sexual violence in educational environment. This data was collected from January to December 2021 through monitoring of cases reported by the victim's family to the police and reported by the mass media. So that I want to explain a little bit what is the sexual violence. Sexual violence is may be directed toward a person's sexual orientation, sexual or gender expressions, or gender identity. It includes sexist, homophobic, and or transphobic jokes, coercion, stalking, voyeurism, cyberviolence, sexual harassment, interpersonal or intimate partner violence, and sexual assault. Sexual violence is influenced by interesting forms of oppression and discrimination, including but not limited to sexism, racism, and homophobia. Thank you. That's for me.
Okay, next second speaker from the bus.
So here I from appreciation for the motion is romantic relationship between teacher and students as students in the school. As we know that every school have teacher and every school to have a student. As we know that what is teacher? If in every school, if we are one study, the learning is by teacher, and the student is the learning by teacher. For this the teacher is teacher. So the teacher this for this motion is impossible, the real romantic relationship between teacher with student because the teacher is teacher. So the teacher put the position for learning his student. So the student is put his help by student. Student is learning by teacher. So for this motion is impossible. The romantic relationship between teacher and student, because every school is have teacher and student. Because of course the teacher is one his knowledge for his student, and the student is as the knowledge with the teacher. Because for this motion is impossible. Romantic relationship between teacher with student. Maybe that's not from me. Thank you.
Organized for third speaker from the group.
Okay, here I'm a third speaker that I will deliver about my point. My point that is about patriarch. If a big teacher and the student have a relationship, of course, between them there is the patriarch between the teacher and the other student. If the teacher and the other student, if the teacher and the student have a relationship, of course the teacher will put the student that has his girlfriend. As the example, if the patriarch is the teacher answer to the girl or the student class, of course the teacher will focus with that girl, and the teacher will focus with that girl. Example, will always see her or will always ask about with her or something with her. If the relationship of the between and the teacher is make a patriarch, of course that make other student that is jealous. And also about sexual feelings, that not only about have sex. If sexual feelings, that if only we touch about the girl, if the girl doesn't want, if we touch her, it means that can answer to the sexual feelings. Thank you.
Okay, next the last speaker from the group.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Between the teacher and the student for the sexual abstinence in the school. As we know that I think it's very bad for the teacher or the teacher for the sexual work with the student. Because why? Because the student for the learn and want study in the class, because have the problem with the teacher, like what to do something like that. Because the teacher only teaching, not the for be sexual or other, because the teacher his job is the teaching the student, because that the teacher how the teacher or the student how the real student and the psychologist Arjuna Maria said the teacher how the teacher how the way be teacher by teaching by really carefully or by carefully, by the student how be student but by student learn by carefully. Maybe that's all from me.
For the next step is combat argument. Combat argument begins from affirmative team. Okay, last time the third speaker said that student must in his way and teacher must in his way. You say that you agree with this motion, that you have misled with this motion, and also that the first speaker said that I misled with this motion, but you didn't listen what I said last time, that the Indonesian Child Protection Commission read the 7 incidents by a high school student in battle against his teacher. From the examination conducted by the Sandrakan police, this case is suspected to be motivated by love affairs. And also, we have another fact that a student that molested by a teacher on a 7-year-old student, and they had relationship for more than 1 year, and the student was molested that 4 times. And this
fact that the relationship between teacher and student make the sexual violence happen in our school, and also the teacher should go in code ethics from teacher. That was for me. Okay, please.
Okay, from the cases that speakers said, there are 87 sexual violations that is not because of the romantic relationship. How do you know that 87% of the cases of sex violation is because of the romantic relationship? There are many impacts that the teacher can do sex violation to their students. It's because they have authority to the violation, and not because of the romantic relationship. And then there is also rules about doing sex violation to the students, and this will get the deterrent effect to the teachers to not do some violation like that or criminality like that. For example, there are rules in Indonesia that if teacher rapes their students, they will have terms in prison until 15 years, and then they will have a sanction to pay until 300 million rupiah. Maybe that's all for me.
Okay, please, second speaker.
As we know, the relationship between students and teachers is not about the romantic relationship. That you say is the relationship between teacher and students is just like teaching and learning. But here, I would like to say that in the teacher's code ethics, the romantic relationship between teacher and student could be interpreted as taboo behavior. Furthermore, this relationship is illegal within the scope of the criminal code if sexual acts take place. Thank you.
Okay, second speaker.
Here I want to explain so. As we know that we live in Indonesian country. In Indonesian country have many rules. If we do something, we will get the something too. Like example, it's impossible the teacher have romantic relationship because the teacher is keep his image the teacher. Because teacher is some person who have the high image on his job, because that is impossible the romantic relationship between teacher and student, because in our country, Indonesia, every mistake is have many sections, because that is the teacher of course keep his image for his job. Thank you.
Okay, for the first speaker.
Okay, talking about teacher being teacher, but teacher has a loss too. Loss can happen to anyone, and teacher can inform the student when they have a relationship. The teacher can force the student to having a sex with him, and also it makes the sexual violence happen in our school. Thank you.
So you said that the last from teacher can cause sex violation, right? That means it's not about romantic relationship between teachers and students. It's because of lust. You mistake from our motion. You said that lust can cause sex violation than romantic relationship.
I said when they have a relationship, and even when the student don't want to have a sex with him, but the teacher forced the student to have a sex with him. So I'm not misled with the title. Thank you.
Okay. The last mistake is that all humans have lust, but teachers is the person that teach to the students about attitude, about behavior, and they give us many knowledge. Of course, the teachers will think twice before doing something like sex violation, and that there are rules that I have said before that will make the teacher afraid to do sex violation to the students. Okay.
Okay, as we know, the romantic relationship. If we know, romantic relationship between student and student can make a lot, such as like sexual harassment, such as touching or grabbing hands, and maybe that will happen in the between teacher and student. Thank you.
So the last you said is because have touched together like that. But the last way explaining here is the teachers have lost with their students because the students may be using inappropriate quotes that will make the teachers have lost, not because of romantic relationship.
Okay, as you said that teacher is an educated person, and we have a fact that a teacher who has in school has a postgraduate, most of his students do by a relationship between them. And this fact says that the teacher can have life too, even if he is an educated person. Thank you.
Addition. Here, I would like to explain the functions between teacher and student. Teacher has a professional job for educating, and the students it's just to hurry the lessons that the teachers deliver to the students. That is.
Here, the example is, of course, everyone from us have the idol teacher. Of course, the example, if you, the example, you is like the expectation. And of course, you is kind of like the teacher. Now, the example is romantic relationship between teacher and student. The example is the student is have the idol teacher. That is enter to the romantic relationship between teacher and student because the teacher because the student is very proud with the teacher that enter to the romantic relationship. Thank you.
Okay, here I want to explain more. The teacher has a good job, a professional job to educate the students, not having the romantic relationship. So that the students is the job for learning by process, and the student is the practitioner who giving the education to the students. Thank you.
Okay. What I said before that that teachers is a person that educate us, and of course they will think twice to do something like sex violation. And because of that, the solution is the teachers marry with the students above 17 years old. And this, there are cases that there are teachers that marry with the students. There are 5 stories that teachers marry with the students, and this is not prohibited in our country.
We have also proved that there is a student and teacher have a relationship until 7 years old, and also the student get a sex violence by the teacher until the student get to the hospital, and then the student was so depressed with the accident happened to her. And also it's not that you can vandalize with someone, but again it's how teacher become professional, teacher become teacher, and student still become student. Thank you.
There's no rules that teachers and students forbid to have a relationship, romantic relationship. They can have a romantic relationship and they can marry with each other if the students already above 17 years old.
Okay. Here I want to disappoint you because I disagree with your opinion. So romantic student-teacher relationship is a prohibited action because that is a taboo behavior that
You haven't answered my question yet. For the teacher that have married with their students, not about the sex violation.
this is romantic relationship between teacher and students is a bad behavior. It is a bad because that is a romantic relationship is not prohibited in our country.
No, it's not prohibited in legislation number 1 in 1924, except number 2 said that it is need a permission from the parents if the teacher wants to marry with the student above 17 years old. And this established in 1974.
And again, back to back to the title and back to the motion. We're not going to talk about marrying with the student that happened, but this is general sex violence that happened in the school. So their relationship can make you trigger about sexual violence. Thank you.
Like I said before, sister, okay? Putra is an educated person. They have knowledge. They have knowledge in themselves to not do something like that. And of course, the solution from the teacher is to marry with their children. Understand?
Okay? To talk about marriage, teacher also have a wife, and then how the divorce, they can betray teacher with the student, and it's teacher with his wife. And also, it becomes a divorce, becomes teacher and his wife. And how about the student? The student can have a bad environment from his environment, from her environment. Thank you.
Bad environment from their environment. If the teacher marry with the student, of course, the student has many benefits because they marry with the teacher, and teacher has many knowledge. And because of this, they will have the students will have. If the teacher has students again, if the teacher wants to do twice, it's not prohibited. Okay.
But the decision to date a student over 18 is not illegal, but it is a clear violation, ethical violation, and the professor made it breach of dirt in his employment contract. Thank you.
What do you mean from prohibiting? What do you mean from your explanation just now?
The decision to make to date a student over 18 is not legal, but that is clear ethical violation. Thank you.
That is ethical violation, but this motion is about sex violation, not ethical violation.
And you also say that teachers would marry with students, and it's also you discuss with this motion that the motion is about sex violence, not about marriage with students. And also, if we have a teacher and a teacher, they can have a teacher with sexual and violence. Thank you.
I love this motion right now because I give the proposals that in this romantic relationship, it will not make the students and teachers have a sex violation, but they will have marriage, and from that marriage, they have many beneficiaries. And I'm not translating my motion right now because I give the proposals of romantic relationship between teachers and students.
I'm disagreeing with you because I think that when the teacher marries the student maybe doesn't know about everything. Maybe she has become the first person of his marriage. So when the teacher and student know that the teacher have a wife, and they make the divorce, and it also makes the student have a depressive. Thank you.
Okay, do you have cases from that? Do you have cases from that? I give your explanation.
Yes, we have the facts of that. And there is a German news that the teacher have a relationship after 7 years with the student, and then the student just know that the teacher has a wife, and then the student
What news? Don't make it yourself.
Yes, I think that is good. And this German news that has
Where and what time is it?
it happened.
Don't make it yourself. This is a debate. And we're based on fact, not opinion.
Listen carefully. It happened when 2014 in Debat, and it happened when the teacher married his teacher, and that the student knows that the teacher never got a wife. So the student showed that he has loved by the teacher. Thank you.
Okay, the children people play the teachers because the teachers have a wife. And this is not prohibited because the teachers, if the teachers have many wives, it's not prohibited in our country. And it's very, very benefit for the girls or the women because the teacher will give them their needs or provide needs.
Okay, for the last cancellation. The first cancellation for the affirmative team.
So here I will give a conclusion for our mission today. That is, our mission today is romantic relationship between teacher and the student is a trigger for sexual violence and sport. That my motion is I will take from the point of view of the speaker and point of view of second speaker. That is, as a student, the job that is for studying and don't have a relationship to the teacher. And also, if the teacher marry the student, how about the study? How about the education about the girl and about the student? And here, because as a teacher, we should, but as a teacher, the teacher must be a professional. If the teacher job that is just teach the student, and the student job that is just learning and in school. And also, as teacher, they stand in a local premises, and it is unthinkable for a teacher who is recognized by a law or such school or parents to have a romantic affair with the student. Marriage is a legal communication to stay together and care for the children. And two people can tie. This not an appropriate time. However, it is considered inappropriate during the teacher-student relationship period. If the student is an elder and the teacher-student relationship has ended, they are free to marry. And the decision to the student over 18 is not legal, but it is a clear ethical clearance, and the professor may be in a breach of trust and his employment contract. Thank you.
Okay, for the next conclusion for opposition team.
The conclusion from us is the basically like Archana Maria side. The teacher, how we teacher, how they teach the student very carefully, and the student how we studying and learning by carefully. Because the some relationship if they not have function because the many negative function for us. So later husband Basuni said to don't look for wife or your husband and the peanut or and the market. Like the example, like and the stress we got that if we have some the people or beautiful people that we want married to them because we do know something the behind the scam of the maybe there is problem like a boy like a boy maybe be fuck boy or the girl might be in the spirit area might be that the conclusion from us. Maybe thank you.
Okay. English debate competition today is done. Okay, let's close our agenda.